Easter Sunday offers renewal and rebirth and celebration, but then buckle up for the rest of the week. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to those of you who are subscribers, and I welcome any new subscribers. Please make sure that you click the subscribe button, thumbs up, which helps my new YouTube channel and helps with the algorithm. So I really appreciate you all being here and leaving comments. Visit my website, CatherineAstrology.com, if you're interested in consultations or readings. Generally, there is a lot going on. We are in the midst of one of the most intense weeks of this year, and that's saying a lot considering all that we've already been through. So I want to offer to you the purpose of my doing these astrological assessments are to truly combine my astrology skills and my counseling skills in order to interpret the astrology information and then offer to you how to work with these energies in the most positive ways. So I will do limited amounts of talking about the planets for those of you that don't like the astrology part. So I am an astrologer. I am a psychotherapist. My name is Catherine Bachman. Yeah. So welcome and let's get started. You know, it's always good to start with the good news. Easter Sunday, I think the cosmos, the creators, our guardian angels, everyone has been working to help us have a little bit of a break on Easter Sunday. So whether you are a Christian or you're of other denominations, is going to be a time where we can all take time out, take a really big time out and gather with our friends and family or go and take a hike in the woods, go to the coast, go to, a lake and sit on a big rock. This is going to be a really good day for peace and kind of clarity coming in, as well as just emotional stability. And it can be a romantic day as well. A chance meeting of someone that, that person's interesting. But basically emotionally, communications, if they've been strained, because we now have Mercury went direct on April 7th, and then we've had this big Libra full moon with Venus, love and money, and Mercury is our communication planet. And when he's retrograde, we're having to rethink, redo, reconsider. The same thing with Venus. Venus retrograde can show us fluctuations in the stock market, but it can also turn us inward to reconsider our relationships. Who are we? Who am I in my relationship? And to every individual. So whether it's my son, whether it's my friend, whether it's my husband, it's like it is a time of about 6 weeks that we have just exited to reconsider, rethink, and I really recommend that people have looked at themselves. What is my part? Our old patterns, old family of origin, tapes running that are running my life unconsciously. This is a great time to be doing therapy and to have really gone in, and at the very least through meditation, through, just checking in with your guides and guardian angels to say, am I missing something here? What is my part in this? If there's discord or if there's challenges, then what is my part of this? And what am I needing to heal? The more that we can look inward, the more that we'll have peace and we'll be really operating from a place of incredible honesty. Another side of the 6-week Venus retrograde period, which we have just exited, is that our stock markets have gone up and down, and we've watched that there's probably some stock market manipulation going on. Our country in the USA, where there's so much tragic and dramatic change, is thousands and thousands of people have been fired from their government positions and without notice. And so this has really thrown our country for a loop. And understanding that there is method to that madness in order to really bankrupt the country, potentially put us into a recession or a depression. The media is not going to use the D word. My perspective on these energies is there are going to be adjustments, but what is going on is about to come to an end. And that could be this month, next month, through the month of August, September. But I think we're going to start to, especially after the full moon in Libra and how conflictual that was. It very much supported. Libra is ruled by Venus, and it's about balance. And there were so many conflictual planetary energies in that chart that basically said nothing's working. Everything is breaking down. So the American people, our job, and this has been the birthing of the awakening of the population in this country, to say this is not what we want. This is not what we voted for. None of this is okay. It's really forced us into a place of rethinking, redoing, and reconsidering. So I would expect that there's still going to be volatility in the stock market and in our economy related to the tariff issues. So as much as we can conserve, as much as we can pull back and assess what's important to us, this is going to be the best way to work with this period of the Mercury retrograde and Venus, love and money, values, retrograde. And then who are we now? With the Easter Sunday energies and that particularly powerful full moon in Libra, that was a couple of weeks ago. So right now, okay, so today I'm actually recording a couple of weeks ahead of time. So today is the 12th of April, and those energies will have settled down quite a bit by the time we get to Easter Sunday on the 20th of April. And so it's a good time to take stock. Who am I now? And for sure, the most wonderful way to work with this energy is get out there and play. Get out there and get involved in community and family of origin, family of choice, and get out in nature. So really fill up your cup before we move into the rest of the week ahead. So, and things kind of are okay until about the 23rd, which is Wednesday, April 23rd, when we have the sun squaring Pluto and Mars. So we have a T-square that is happening. And the next day, Venus conjuncts Saturn. So the square energy of the sun to this Pluto-Mars opposition. So Pluto is death, rebirth, and he's in Aquarius at this time, birthing the Aquarian age. Aquarian energy is fast-paced change, technology, the tech bros that have taken power. It's about power, money, and sexuality, and major life transformation. So the whole planet is going through this transformation. The opposition to Mars will be in Leo, the sign of the lion, and very courageous. Mars has been traveling through the past several months since November, has been traveling through Cancer. I think he went in October, but it's been traveling through Cancer. Mars is how we take action. Mars rules Aries, and Aries is new beginnings. It's passion. It's impulsive. It's very powerfully looking at the future, but it's also courageous. And sometimes, it's like impulsively we'll jump into situations where fools fear would not go, right? It's like sometimes we can impulsively jump into and make decisions and move into changes. But Mars represents war, and Mars-Pluto interactions, particularly in opposition, can represent war. And this is a pretty tight opposition. The oppositions are the two planets opposing each other. Pluto being I would say, the power structure in the world right now, and the issues that we've been dealing with over the past year and a half, 2 years almost, has been our oligarchs and the plutocracy, the autocracy, those who have money, who have manipulated governments to, supporting and giving them wealth and giving less to the people. And that's certainly true in our country. But they're at the point of, it's like, okay, we're just going to take power. And in our country, it's the tech bros, so, and we've talked about that in the past. So this is a newly infused Mars in Leo. And so Leo has its high energy and its low energy as well. Mars is about taking action, and he's traveled through Cancer, which is about emotions and sensitivity and family and security and children, issues for women, children, families, national security, financial security, all of those issues. So he's had this long period of time of having to integrate and, see that there are needs there. He can't just go off willy-nilly and do what he wants to do. We have a renewed Mars, an educated or an emotionally sensitized Mars to the needs of others, to the needs of women, children, families, and financial security, and the lack of it because the plutocracy, the autocracy, the rich, the billionaires have over the last 80 years sucked the money out of our country and others. So this is not the only country this is happening for. So this is going to be a time, I think, of exposure. That this particular week, the Libra full moon on the 12th today is also going to open up Pandora's box, and there'll be a lot more information coming out about agreements and money changing, corruption. We'll start to hear more about that. And it absolutely is going to trigger by this time of April 23rd with the sun squaring Pluto and squaring Mars. And then Pluto, Mars are in opposition. The sun is going to shine light on the corruption. The sun is going to shine light on contracts and agreements that have been done in secret that are illegal, unethical, etc. We could be hearing all kinds of things related to what's going on with our own government, with the Doge, Elon Musk Doge, just kind of raiding the treasury, and the destruction of all of our organizations and departments, and, the corruption of every government agency, the corruption and destruction of every government agency. This energy that's coming up by April 23rd is going to have us all mad as hell. It can also be that the government is very desperate, that the Trump administration are desperate because their secrets are being exposed. This can be challenges to and actions taken against this particular regime. I'll call it a regime. They are very clear that they are destroying democracy so that they can have oligarchy and fascism. They're gleefully waiting for, and hoping that the citizenry, not just of the United States, but in the world, will just go, oh my God, we're just going to give up. Okay, fine. Take it all. No, that's not the promise of Pluto and Aquarius. And I'm going to remind everyone that Pluto Aquarius is moving into a new age of power coming back to the people. And as I've said before, it's not going to be given to us. So as we move through the month of April, even on the 19th, last weekend, when you will be seeing this, or probably you'll receive this video will be uploaded on the 18th. So the 19th, we will be, there's going to be another round of hands off and 50501 and indivisible. I do know that there are a number of organizations, the teachers union, different unions across the country, veterans that are organizing to protest. So the protests aren't going to be put down. They will be peaceful. And if this government, because we know it is also a desire for martial law and to turn the military on the people, it's like we're going to all have to stay very conscious, awake, and aware of our surroundings and trust instincts. So really open up to, asking those guides and guardian angels to keep you safe and let you know. But there is power in our numbers, and the numbers are only going to get larger as we move through this month of April. Venus conjuncting Saturn in Pisces is also on the 24th, we could take another hit. Saturn is authority. Saturn is leadership in our government. In the sign of Pisces, it's like, it could be, compassion, compassionate change. We could see Republicans in the House or the Senate saying, this has just gone too far. And no, we won't do this. And so we could start to see some changes related to pushback against what they are trying to do, and compassion for the people that have lost everything. And there are thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, by the time we make it to April 24th. So we could also see another stock market manipulation, stock market loss. I know it's not the 90 days that they pushed the tariffs for most of the world off. I don't think we've seen the end of the desperation or the end of the shock and awe that this administration is planning to attempt on the American people. So it's not doom and gloom. It is what I would call the death throes of the Trump administration and of this oligarchic power grab around the world. So people all across the world are going to be pushing back. Yeah, the 23rd, 24th is very conflictual. It is leading up to the last Mars, which is how we do things, opposing Pluto, which has historically been volatile. And so Mars in Leo says, this ends at this point in time. So what can we expect? We can expect huge pushback from the people. There may be, again, this period on this third week of March. My most hopeful side is thinking, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if this is where there is legal pushback, where there can be kind of transformations with at least one or two of our Supreme Court justices that are going to say no, that may actually even reconsider the powers that they, because they created this monster, right? So it may be that there is going to be one or two of them that will shift and go, you know what, we've got to rein this in. This is really going bad fast. And it can also be the, law, international law, other fail-safe kinds of energies that could step in. And it can be a last-ditch effort by those that are trying to destroy democracy around the world, to push back, to do a violent act. And, so we have the Trump administration at this point threatening Panama. I'm an Air Force brat, and we lived in Panama for 3 years. What I understand is that they want to take back the Panama Canal, and Panama is a sovereign nation, and we gifted the canal to them. But it's all about manipulation and money. Everything with the orange man is about manipulation and money. So there could be a violent act happening there. There could be, he's already sent the over to the Middle East, and there could be more violence there. He definitely he's threatening Iran. And even though he tore up the Obama agreement with Iran to not develop nuclear weapons, then, now he's going, they can't have nukes, so it's total insanity. And we also know that there is that mental health, the Alzheimer's mental health issues going on with our president and his family. So there is so much going on. It is kind of like we have our own mad king happening. And again, I speak to all of this to prepare you for the volatility, and that volatility will continue through the new moon, and I will cover that in next week's video. But the Taurus new moon is also going to square Pluto and square Mars. So, in that Mars-Pluto opposition. So this is going to be concerns related to the safety, security of the people. But there's almost immediately the following Monday, the 28th, 29th, 30th, there's new beginnings, there's positive new energy. And I want to mention, we're moving up to the first major planet, outer planet, Pluto, reversing, going into retrograde the first part of May. This is kind of like a climax, a culmination of a lot of what's going on that has felt so out of control. And every chart I look at, mine and everyone else that I do consultations for, my kids, my husband, it's like all of our charts really start to lighten up. And so that's how I have a sense that there are some big changes coming up. And it is this month. We are kind of, and I would say this personally, it's like we're having trouble sleeping. I'm doing everything I can to sleep, and it's like I'm waking up at 2 and not really being able to go back to sleep. So I know that this is happening. The new moons and full moons and these major astrological, the planetary shifts going direct or going retrograde or going into new signs, because we have like 5 planets moving, the outer planets moving into new signs through the course. Neptune went into the Aries, into the sign of Aries, Neptune being, the 12th sign of the Zodiac, Pisces energy, agape love, but also deep deception, disappointment, disillusionment. And so we're all trying to balance those energies as he goes into Aries. That's also been a signal for past wars, the French Revolution and in the American Revolution. So anyway, I've talked about that in past videos. There's more. If you go to the website, there is a video on Pluto into Aquarius and some of these other planetary shifts. And I will be doing videos on individual planetary shifts and how does that impact you by sign, Aries through Pisces. This week is going to be the week that brings a lot of things to head. And I'm hoping that there's also international, because this is an international criminal activities that are going on to take down our country, but also to take down other democracies. And they've been doing quiet research and investigation over the past many, many months, if not a couple of years, to build up the evidence that is needed to expose all of this. This is the only way that we are going to be able to heal and move on, to transform. So our job, it's like there's the powers that be, is to hold that vision of this coming future. What is it we want? And how much do we really need? I mean, billionaires are the ones that are triggering this. And like, when is it going to be enough money? When does that end? Why is it they have deluded themselves? I know that they're psychopaths and sociopaths and have no conscience and have no consciousness of lifting all of humanity because of their arrogance and inability to have compassion, to care. In fact, many of them are malignant narcissists and enjoy seeing people suffer. Hang on to your hats, because I think in the next few months, so much information is going to come out, and it really is going to be repulsive. It is going to make us sick to our stomachs, but it's finally going to come out, and we will be able to make different decisions. My belief as I look at the energies going forward from this period of April, is that humanity, the majority of the planet, are caring, loving, compassionate people. And we want peace. And we want to, help and care for and work with our planet to heal it from all of this violence and toxicity, whether it's the wars or whether it's the chemical poisoning. This is going to be an important part of the wake up for the rest of humanity. Those of us that have been watching this since the 60s have, done a lot of prayer work, done a lot of healing work, and we are ready for this transformation and change. How do you work with all of this and stay sane? Really important to step away from it, step away from the news, to, really speak to your higher self, your guardian angels, your ascended masters, whatever your spiritual religion, and value system is, to develop those relationships and to slow down, to not get caught up. I can look at this stuff for you because I have learned a certain amount of detachment. That was one of my life lessons, that and all of this Aries energy that I was born with. It's like, patience. This has been a long, hard process. And I am frustrated, I think, like many. And I am a dreaming woman. So I want to shout out to other dreaming women out there. I think a lot of us have had that kind of slowed down and shut down a little bit, but I'm really meditating more to reconnect and to have information come to me and through me, which is the meditation I do before I do these videos. So just know you're not alone. And I will be back in a week with that final Taurus new moon and the first week of May. I'll talk a bit more. I may do a separate video just on the Pluto retrograde. And then we have some other planetary shifts coming in May and June, July. So, and we've begun the retrograde season. Pluto is usually the first one that goes retrograde in May. And then the rest of the outer planets, so that would be Pluto, death, rebirth, major transformation, he will stay in Aquarius. He's not going back into Capricorn again. And then that will be Uranus, the planet of shock and awe, is finally leaving Taurus, my sign. Thank you, goddess. And going into Gemini. But he's comfortable in Gemini. He's not comfortable in Taurus. That's a square energy, 90 degrees square energy. So, you know, I believe Uranus, through this 8-year transit, Uranus, the planet of shock and awe, has really worked hard to break us Tauruses out of our ruts. And, but also to have us look at all of those Taurus issues, money, love, values, and because of those shocks, to learn to let go to some degree, to become more Aquarian. Tauruses are really, really great workers, and we will work ourselves into early graves to accomplish and to care for family and friends and to accumulate. Although that hasn't been quite my issue. So it's a matter of becoming lighter, to release what we thought the world, Earth, you know, what is even the idea of security has been the lesson of Uranus going through Taurus. As we've had that rug ripped right out from under us, coming back to the long lesson, the 8-year lesson of Uranus going through Taurus has been a period of realizing that I am my own security, that who I am and how I feel about what's going on in my life is what creates my security, is how I can love and care for others. Those are things that create a sense of security for me, not dollars, not houses, not stuff. Those things are no longer as important to me as the relationships, the family, you know, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, those kinds of experiences. And to do that with as much honesty and integrity as I can do. So he moves into the summer. In a couple months, he'll move into Gemini. And so fast-paced change and information and communications and new ideas. And, you know, as we exit this energy of what we've been through, because this has been the cosmic great wake-up call for humanity, not just Americans, everyone on the planet. It is our wake-up call. What is important to us? And so, you know, there's much speed to Gemini energy. There's a variety. Everyone can be unique in their own way and have their own unique ideas and plug those in. We'll be given more freedom instead of being stuck in an 8-to-5 job. You know, what is it that we want to do with Uranus? And it may be humanitarian, environmental. You know, it's communications. It could be technology. You know, research and education. So there's so many ways that as he moves into Gemini this summer, it's going to be our time to take on some new energies. And we may find ourselves making really fast-paced snap decisions. Only I can't snap. Sorry about that. And then it just goes on. As we move through the summer, more changes, more new energies, and they're faster paced and they're lighter energies coming in. So Saturn goes into Aries, I think the end of May. You know, we have 3 planets changing, retrograding in July. So July is going to be another powerful month of change. So just know what's happening this month and what's happening in our world today. And when you get to listen to this video, this will pass. Just take care of yourself. Let the information come in and go out, you know, one side or the other, and know that you are safe, that you are grounded, and do not isolate. Do not isolate it. As much as you can, reach out to family, friends, make new friends, get into new hobbies. Try something that you've never done before, but, back 10, 20 years ago, maybe, you thought, oh, that might be fun, but then it never happened. So this is a time of really moving inward, figuring out, who am I now? I'm not the same person today as I was last week. I used to say, it's like, oh my God, I'm a Pluto first house. I'm a Leo rising, Pluto first house. And that's the lifetime of the pearl and oyster. Life's daily crises, create a beautiful pearl, supposedly. But for me, it's been, as an astrologer, noticing that, life crises maybe one every couple of years or so. And then it progressed so that there were more crises to this point where there's multiple daily massive crises happening in our world. So if ever there was a time to move into detachment, notice, but don't take on the fear. Notice the changes and say prayers for those that are being directly affected. Most of this is not affecting the majority of the planet or majority of people. There are those who are being impacted that need our love and support and prayers. We are at that culmination point. We are at the end of this huge age, and we are going to, in the next few months, fully birth the new. Who are you now, and who do you want to be then? I think I'll let it go there. I will do a couple more videos before I'm going to take a little week off, and at the end of from the 20th actually through the 27th. And so I'm going to be doing the next few videos ahead of time, and God only knows that this is going to be, I just have to purely look at the energies because I won't have a sense of what has changed and what is happening in the world in 2 weeks, right? It's like, it's really unpredictable, but just know I'll be thinking of you, and really appreciate if you will click that like button, subscribe, share. Please share these videos if you think that this would be helpful for anyone else. And don't forget to go visit my website. Check out the consultations. I do have a 25% discount that I'm running on my all of my consultations, and I do still offer free birth charts. I won't be able to print them up. I'm not going to be doing that kind of work when I'm on my little vacation, the 20th through the 27th. But if you anytime in the next week want a free birth chart, and that's not an interpreted birth chart, because I think some people have thought that was the consultation. It's just your birth chart, so that if you go out and get a little, Astrology 101 training manual or book, order it or get it at your local metaphysical bookstore would be preferable, so you can support a local business. That this would be helpful to understand. You're not going to be able to read the birth chart. It's all symbols and glyphs and the geometry of how the planets, when you were born, are communicating with each other, which really gives the astrologer information about who you are. I mean, I worked on myself and my family and close friends for 8 years before I started doing consultations. It's a very complex language, but it is valid. It is a language that has been gifted to us. And I think the last time I heard was over 400,000 years ago. And so I'm suspecting it was gifted by the ET so that we could understand who we are, so that those of us that learned the language could be in support and help others understand who they are and why they have come here. The birth chart is your lifetime roadmap. And I can give you a range of information, a range of possibilities, but I cannot give you exactly what's going to happen. It's general predictive, but you have free will. And so who you're going to attract and what you're going to do and to create the situations that will help you to develop as a soul in this lifetime, to develop your gifts, to heal past life karma. There's all kinds of stuff there in a birth chart. So I will send you a birth chart, and I was recommending, I really do need to go online and see if the book is even still available, but one of the simplest and clearest little chart interpretation books is by Stephen Arroyo, Arroyo. And it was a favorite of mine back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. So take care of yourself. Go have some good fun. Really celebrate Easter. Have fun. Plan to take a day off from the insanity that's going on in the world right now, and nurture yourself. And if you leave comments, I'm happy to answer. I've developed some communications going on with a number of my subscribers, and I thoroughly enjoy that. I enjoy sharing information. I'm sharing information with other astrologers. Welcome. And we are all in this together. We are all in this together. So thank you. Blessings. You guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Okay. Bye-bye.